That is Tommy Norris at the very end of the Landman Season 1 finale.
You better run, buddy. They kill coyotes around here.
Again with the coyote, just like I talked about at the start of the Season 1 finale preview video. Hey, mistakes happen, but we were all right that the coyote does have some real symbolism. Talking to The Hollywood Reporter, actor Billy Bob Thornton said, "It's a symbolic moment of Tommy trying to figure out who he is. Quote, I think he's kind of staring himself and possibly death in the eye." Like all of us, Billy Bob wonders if he's the coyote, or is he the one out hunting the coyote, i.e. the cartel? This is all kind of a setup for Season 2, which is not confirmed yet, but I mean, come on, it's gotta happen, right? This video will contain spoilers, however, including what became of Monty Miller, played by John Hamm, and how that trip to the strip club went for Angela, Ainsley, and those old folks. Anyone else think that one of those old timers would die of a heart attack?
She gave me her number.
Leave that with me. I don't need her taking your Social Security.
I'm also hoping that someone with knowledge can weigh in on the problems with Cooper's plan to make money. We'll get there, but our subscribers appreciate that we don't yap for like 8 minutes before getting to the thing that we teased in the title. So, here we go.
You want to know the last thing that I said to him? You need a shave.
The big cliffhanger from episode 9 was what would become of Monty Miller, the owner of M-Tek Oil. At the start of episode 10, we learn he had a ruptured aortic aneurysm and he needs a heart transplant quick. He undergoes surgery and his family is told to pray, and then we don't see him again until the very end with his family. So, did Monty really die? He did. And I know this because A, that family looks real sad, B, his EKG machine is flat, and C, co-creator Christian Wallace told Variety that, quote, it's safe to say that Monty has passed. There's actually a ton of great stuff in that Variety piece, including the BTS on how Jerry Jones's speech from episode 9 came to be. Would you believe that this was all totally unscripted?
For me to buy the Dallas Cowboys. Paying attention to my kids actually led to me getting involved into the passion of my life. And all along, what I was trying to do is hang out near my daughter.
Tommy is now in charge of the company, and he gets Rebecca to renegotiate the farm out, which, alright, I'm just gonna level with you. Taylor Sheridan loves to pack his shows with complicated business deals, and most of the time, it's impossible to figure out what's happening unless you're a CPA or maybe a lawyer. He did it on Yellowstone all the time, and he's done it during 1923. This time we learn that M-Tek is taking a big risk by sticking with a deal Monty committed to several episodes ago. Rebecca is not a fan.
I hear the moral high ground gets real windy at night.
The whole thing could return several $1 billion, or it could bankrupt M-Tek. The specifics were dense, but they did explain fracking in a way that I actually understand.
This is shale, goes all the way from here to Midland. So just imagine layer after layer, a solid rock, slapped on top of one another like slices of bread. And between the slices, well, that's your butter.
The season 1 finale did a great job of switching between the drama and the more playful moments, and then everything in between. The old person strip club sequence went off with no issues, and Ainsley's boyfriend did his part.
You'll break her pelvis, Tiger.
I don't know what to do.
Baby, you just put your foot on your chair and you just grind your hips to the music.
I can't do that.
That's not what I heard.
Once again, I thought the scenes between Cooper and Ariana were compelling, even if they were the garnish to this episode.
I'll walk through every memory with you if you want. Everyone.
Ariana is actively trying to move on past her late husband, and it's been challenging. Thumbs up this video if you know what that is like. Meanwhile, Cooper is moving forward with a plan to acquire several dozen small leases to sell to a larger oil company. Individually, they're worth nothing because they require a huge investment, but together, who knows? And this is where I need your help. What's the flaw that I'm not seeing in Cooper's plan? Comment below or email staff@tasteofcountry.com. Anyone have actual oil leases on their property? I'd love to know how realistic this show is in illustrating those experiences, as well as the negotiations.
That's not the message. That's the warning. You're the message.
This brings us to the last 30 minutes of the 80-minute long finale. Jimenez is the drug cartel henchman's name, and he kidnaps Tommy after blowing up a well, which was short-sighted because now police are going to be out there policing. The torture scene was pretty fascinating. Visually, it wasn't as gruesome as some other fights in Taylor Sheridan shows, but I felt like I had a bag on my head because all my other senses were firing overtime when he started to whack Tommy with the hammer. Fun fact here, Billy Bob says that was actually him in the bag the entire time, not some stunt double. I was blown away at how calm and confident Tommy was after Gallino, the cartel leader played by Andy Garcia, went in guns blazing and killed everyone. R.I.P. Jimenez.
World's a better place if we have friends.
I get that. But we ain't ever gonna be friends.
What's that?
We ain't ever gonna be friends.
I read several recaps about the Landman finale, and everyone sort of fixated on this idea that Tommy was now sort of owned by the cartel, and I didn't get that sense at all. To me, the peace that Tommy's wanted for several weeks has been restored, and they'll stay out of each other's way. Although it was ominous that the cartel is now looking to get into the oil business.
There's no future in the product you sell.
I'm more curious about the product you sell.
Mine's running out of future too.
Maybe so, but there's still some future left.
Side note, I'm never going to see a vending machine the same way after watching the cartel escape with Tommy through a hidden entrance. It's like something Mark Rober would do. And now, like we've done before, my Dutton Rules podcast co-host Addison Hager joins me for your questions and answers. Hey, Addison.
Billy, Landman has officially sucked me in. I wasn't a firm believer in the beginning, and I'm here. I'm full send.
Was it a specific scene that sort of caught your attention and brought you all the way in, or just the whole finale episode?
Just the whole finale episode. And I've said before, I kind of started geeking out when I'm born and raised Texan, Austin, but my papa's in oil and gas law. They live in Lubbock. There's just so many parallels to kind of my actual life and just conversations I've had with Papa J and stuff like that it's just made it a little bit more close to home where I'm like, oh, I actually kind of know what we're talking about here, which made it fun.
Yeah, we're going to break this down a little bit further as we kind of go on and especially into season 2. But I'm right there with you. Like, this show is season 1 really strong. Not getting too excited because season 1 of Tulsa King was really strong too. And then it took a crap. But so far, so good.
Well, I have some Q&A for us. And if you're ready to dive right in, I say let's do it.
Let's do it.
Alrighty, the first one is, can they please not sexualize teenagers next season?
How do you feel about this? They're referring, of course, to the strip club scene and Ainsley and her boyfriend's 17 and he's stripping for people. Like, what are your thoughts on that? I don't want to give my old man opinion before you have a chance to talk.
Yeah, I'll enter it. I agree. I think sometimes I'm like, okay, it's a little much where I feel like that in and of itself is a plot point. Yeah. Especially Ainsley walking around her house and pretty much nothing with older men around. Yeah, I think it was a little more of a, like I said, a plot point or a point of conversation than it needs to be.
I'm the part that got me, I think, was him stripping for the old people. Like everything else I can kind of couch into like, this has been done before. Teenagers behaving a certain way with other teenagers, like, that's understandable, relatable. There's certainly a ton of teen movies, rom-coms that sort of include things like that or worse. But like this high school senior stripping for an old woman, that was like, and her being all here for like, that was like a little bit like, okay, maybe just too much.
It was definitely cringeworthy. No.
Yeah. So I agree with that comment. I think that came from our YouTube channel. A little less on that, even if the relation progresses full speed ahead.
Yeah. The next one I have for us is, do you think Cooper and Tommy will bump heads? Absolutely. But what do you think?
They really didn't interact a whole lot during season 1 outside of like a hospital room scene or two.
Yes, but I think now with Angela back in the picture and she's so forward and gung-ho about wanting this idea of family back together, I think that they will interact more.
Yeah, it's been kind of interesting how their plot lines have run parallel to each other and merged a little bit, but it's not nearly as much as Ainsley and Tommy's plot lines. So yeah, I agree with you. I think they absolutely will bump heads, and I look forward to watching that because I think they're both really good actors.
The last question I have for us is, the whole thing is strange. What's even worse is she gets mad at him and acts like she didn't welcome him into her husband's home and ask for help. Then just a few sentences later, they are on the couch ripping clothes off. Can you explain that one, Billy?
This is Ariana and Cooper, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because she's talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Cooper is now living with Ariana.
Yes.
And I agree it's strange, but I also think kind of it makes it normal. Like when she defined their relationship as clumsy, which I thought was super adorable, but it was also a spot on description for like how they're getting together and like the highs and lows and like,
yeah,
it's weird. It is sort of weird. And they're trying to sort of traverse this weird landscape, and she's this and then she's that. Like,
it's cumbersome.
I can kind of, it is, but I can relate to it. It's not Hollywood perfect. We're like, boom.
Yes.
It'd be worse to me if like just a month later they were like in love and at the altar. Like the fact that it's ugly and weird makes it a little bit more real, I think.
Cooper, he's grown on me. I actually really like him. I didn't love him at first. There was no direct reason. I just wasn't my favorite character. And I've enjoyed him.
No, he was pretty flat early on. He didn't have, it took him a while to sort of reveal like his character and his personality, but seems to be a strong character, smart. I enjoy their love story quite a bit. And I look forward to kind of following that in season 2, which there has to be a season 2, right?
Surely.
Yeah.
I guess it might depend on like ratings, like how this actually ends up doing.
Yeah, I think the ratings have been strong, but like the season could end, like the series could end after season. There was no really untied or loose ends that have to be resolved still, right? Like it ended clean. Well, come on. Everybody's rooting for a season 2 here. What are we doing?
and somehow I've got to figure out how to be an extra on it if season 2 is happening, because I just want to be a fly on the wall.
I got your scene.
Oh, what is it?
Yeah. Waitress or a bartender at the patch.
Done. I'm here. And if there could be a bar fight that I'm also a part of, that's cool.
Okay. I'll pencil you in.
Okay, thank you. I know you have direct lines to Taylor Sheridan, so thank you, Billy, for doing the Lord's work. Speaking of, the Lord's work, we are going to break down this season finale over on the Dutton Rules podcast pretty soon.
Yep, you can find that wherever you find podcasts, and we love the fan interaction there, as well as in these videos, and I've said it before, but staff@tasteofcountry.com is the place to email. Also leave comments below, and maybe we'll answer your questions next week.
Alrighty, Billy. That's all I have for us today.
See ya.
Bye.